Yo, what's good? Top of the top, episode 210, Stash House Podcast. Your boy Tyler checking in. First time listeners, thank y'all for tuning in. If you tune in weekly, salute. And it's just an episode, saw some topics you may want to hear about. Salute to you as well. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, whatever you do to help support the podcast. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Podcast available on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor app. Once again, subscribe, leave comments, reviews, feedback, put your people on. All greatly, greatly appreciated. Apologies for last week. It was a no-show. Simply, I can put it, Cinco De Mayo weekend got the best of me. Man, if I would have came in last weekend, I'd have been slurring words. A 30-minute episode would have been shortened to probably a 10-minute episode. I would have seemed uninterested. Basically, Cinco de Mayo weekend won. I'm not mad at it. So once again, apologies for that. But this week, conference finals, NBA playoffs. I'm going to take a look back at the semifinals, some matchups, some storylines with that as well, and get my predictions for the conference finals. So let's go ahead and get to that. First, let's start with how I'm feeling about the gameplay so far in the NBA playoffs. Overall, I've been enjoying the games. I've been enjoying the series. I love how for the semifinals, I said it on Twitter, I would have loved for all the semifinals matchups to go to a Game 7. Of course, I didn't predict all of them go to a Game 7, but it would have been cool to see Eastern Conference, all of them go to Game 7, and the Western Conference. But my complaints, just from the gameplay, with the NBA being such a heavy three-point league nowadays, I'm so tired of seeing pump fakes. Like, that's really something that's been grinding my gears with these playoffs, man. For a league to just, hey, give me the ball, we're going to do an isolation, I'm going to drive in the paint, and when I get to the paint, I'm just dunk off to the three-point line. For the players to get the ball at the three-point line, it do so many pump fakes. You see a pump fake step to the side. You see two pump fakes. You see a pump fake to get the defender in the air to get a foul call. You go to the mid-range, you see a pump fake. You go to the hole, they drive in the hole, then they stop and regroup, go back to the three-point line to get the offensive play set up. It's just so many pump fakes. I'm getting tired of seeing what else I'm getting tired of seeing? I'm getting tired of seeing teams and they coaching staff not coming up with plays and all that when it's time to come up with plays instead of like Boston. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Boston, a perfect example. I think I saw a quote. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I'm really not sure if it's true or not, but the coach was like, yeah, sometimes we don't even draw up a game plan for the game. We just go out there and whatever we see on defense, we adjust on the fly. It's like, man, you can't win like that in the playoffs, man. The playoffs are about game-by-game adjustments. It's a chess game. One coach come out, you see this defense. All right, we got to adjust. Oh, they adjust to our defense. Let's move some pieces around. Let's get some other players some minutes. Let's switch up the starting five to start the game. Maybe that worked better for our bench. It's a game of chess. I move one, you move one, and we see how it works out at the end. So as much as I'm enjoying the playoffs right now, there are some complaints about just watching the game. And, of course, it's a three-point league nowadays, so you're going to see heavy three-point shots, whether you miss 2 in a row, 3 in a row. We've seen with Tatum take bad shots to start the game, and all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, he come alive. Klay Thompson would just boo-boo all series against the Lakers. It just, when you in this league of live by the three, die by the three, it comes to fruition when it's time to come to fruition. That's basically what I'm trying to say. There's also this thing about players, superstar players, being efficient one game, then the next game not so efficient. Anthony Davis, they had this whole thing with him. Well, when it's a game 1, game 3, game 5, he plays like this. When it's a game 2, game 4, game 6, he plays like this. We've seen James Harden have great games for a game 2. Then the game 3 is not so good. Once again, Jason Tatum on and off. Klay Thompson, like I just said before as well. So we're seeing that as well with the superstars of the league. Really seeing it in real time, like, okay, this is not the regular season. You just can't coast through 80-something games, then come to the playoffs and feel like you could just coast through these series. No, it's a best of 7 series. You got to take every game serious. It's like, of course, you may have one, you be like, okay, they might get us, they at home, whoop-de-whoop, but you don't go in with the mindset of that like you do for the regular season. So that's another thing I'm noticing as well. Also, I'm enjoying seeing the role players, the unsung heroes. Of course, you have your starting 5, then you probably have your first 2 off the bench that most of the people know. But when you got these guys that further down the depth chart getting some minutes and showing the coaching staff like, hey, I can, pitch in a couple points here and there. I'm going to give y'all some valuable minutes as well. That's dope to see. So overall, like I said, I'm enjoying the playoffs, but just some things while watching the games from the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, I'm seeing that's kind of similar to, in totality of, yeah, it's the playoffs. It's not 82 games. It's not a Tuesday TNT regular season game. It's not a Thursday night regular season game. It's the playoffs, and you can tell when the coaching staff is make adjustments and different players seeing the court a little bit different than the ones who haven't been there before, you can see it. Now let's get to these conference finals. I am recording this before Game 7 of Boston and Philadelphia, so by the time y'all hear this, the Eastern Conference matchup will be set. But I'm going to just go on with what I think what happened with that. But first, let's start in the West. Western Conference Finals matchup. We got the Denver Nuggets going against my Los Angeles Lakers. First, let's start with the Nuggets. They defeated the Phoenix Suns in 6. I believe I predicted Nuggets in 6. With that series, in terms of the Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul went down. DeAndre Ayton went down to the point where I want to say Ayton's injury, he probably could have played. He could have showed some fight for his team by playing in that crucial Game 6, but he didn't. And now it's to the point where Phoenix, I believe everybody has the same idea when it comes to Phoenix, just build around Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I said it before the playoffs started. I said, this Phoenix Suns team, they are very, very top-heavy, and I think the bench was just going to fill itself out. The bench would give you enough with that starting 5. The bench would give you enough, but, when you're going up against Denver, a team that has depth, that lack of bench play definitely caught up with the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant dragged them as long as they could. But, for the Suns now, and even Kevin Durant, the past few playoff appearances have not gone their way. Is word that Chris Paul might be on the chopping block. DeAndre Ayton might be on the chopping block. I saw a post, I don't know if it's valid or not, but they were saying something about possibly Chris Middleton from Milwaukee and DeAndre Ayton possibly ending up in Dallas. I just saw that on my timeline. I'm not sure how much validity it is to that. And even head coach for the Phoenix Suns, Monty Williams, is on the chopping block as well. So, you got to do what you got to do as an organization. Like I said, when you got Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, who appears to going to be with Phoenix Suns next season, you build around those two guys. I think you're looking for a very, very promising year next year. But back to the Denver Nuggets, man. Jokic, once again, I said it before the playoffs started, and I'm going to keep saying it. This year's playoffs, I have the Denver Nuggets and Jokic as the team and player with the most pressure in these playoffs to deliver. I said they at least got to make it to the finals this year. I don't think it's going to happen. But you got to show respect to Jokic. Murray, it was this thing with Murray where people were like, okay, Murray is looking like NBA bubble Murray. And Murray was like, no, this is my game. It's not just because we was in the bubble, I was playing so fantastic. Like, I got to keep on showing y'all, I can really ball. And like I said before, that team has a lot of depth. They know how to work together. That core group been there for a minute. So for my Lakers, it's going to be a tough one. I got my Lakers in 6. That's the motto I'm going with. I got the Lakers in 6. Knock on wood. Anthony Davis stay healthy. We can make something happen. So let's get to my Lakers. We defeated the Golden State Warriors in 6. Once again, like I predicted, we was up 3-1. I think I can only speak for myself. I don't know what everybody else in Laker Nation was thinking, but 3-1, I was like, that's not enough. You gotta beat, stump, do everything you have to do to Golden State to make sure they stay down. And I believe we did that. Game 6, Golden State was just out of whack. Klay Thompson, Game 6, Klay was not there. Steph Curry did all he could all series. Jordan Poole, he got too happy that he got that check over the offseason, and he just was a no-show. Andrew Wiggins was playing hurt. He didn't provide much. And the Lakers, man, when the Lakers look good, the Lakers look good. Darvin Ham, once again, first-year head coach. I like how they say, you know, the Lakers, they started the season 2-10, now they going to the Western Conference Finals. Y'all got to add more details to that. Yes, we started the year 2-10, but you got to add the fact that over the All-Star break, before the trade deadline, we made moves over the trade deadline. And since we made those moves, we've been one of the best teams in the league heading into the playoffs. We got in the play-in, got the 7th seed, took care of Memphis, we took care of Golden State. You got to add detail. Don't make it just seem like this the same team we had in October. And now all of a sudden we got everything together and now we're going to the Western Conference Finals. That's not the case. I wish it was the case. I wouldn't be mad at it, but that's not the case. We made moves. Once again, Anthony Davis. Heading into this series, Anthony Davis versus Jokic. Anthony Davis versus Jokic. And I think they kind of, I ain't going to say they cancel each other out, but Anthony Davis, you got to come out that paint because Jokic, he got a mid-range shot. He can make things happen. Orchestrating the offense, got different players going around. He know how to orchestrate that offense. So Anthony Davis, you got to be aware of that. And even with Anthony Davis on offense, just do what you do, man. I don't need all this. Well, it's a game 1, so he's going to play bad. Game 2, he's going to play good. Game 3, he's going to play. We don't need that inconsistency this series. We do not need it. All right? Our role players, man, Austin Reeves, Hachimura, Vanderbilt on defense, Lonnie Walker coming out of nowhere in game 3 or 4 against Golden State. At first, even still, honestly, I'm going to be honest with y'all, when it comes to Lonnie Walker, I'm happy for the guy. I don't want him to get to the point where he's got a little bit too much dip on his chip, though. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Austin Reeves, I've been saying all season. I don't want you to get too much dip on your chip because you are going against guys with the Denver Nuggets who are itching to get there. That's the difference between Memphis, Golden State, and now Denver. Memphis, young, braggadocious team, too much dip on their chip, wasn't ready for the moment. Golden State, they've been here numerous times. That core that they got over there, they got 4 rings together. They just won one last year. They just didn't have the shooting efficiency that they needed to win because in Game 6, Klay had some open shots. It just wasn't going in. But that's just how the ball rolled. Nothing you can do about it. But now with this Denver Nuggets team, you facing a team that is itching to get to the finals. They are itching. Jokic, 2 MVPs, no NBA final appearances to show for it. You are looking at it. You are going up against a team that's like, okay, y'all, we've been one of the best teams in the league all year. The number one knock on us, we can't get to the big stage. We can't get to the finals. So Lakers, role players, Dennis Schroeder, all this. Dennis Schroeder almost on some, I get it, it was Draymond Green and everything, but you don't need to be the Pat Beverly of this team. Like, we need you on the court. You don't need to be the one just getting texts and getting thrown out the game in the second, third quarter. No, Dennis Schroeder, you can give us some points. You can help move our offense around. You're great on defense as well. We need you on the court. You don't need to be the antic guy. You don't need to do that. So with our core, with Anthony Davis, LeBron's going to do what LeBron does. I don't want LeBron to get too happy from the three-point line. I feel like Game 6 was a great throwback version of LeBron. Throw it in the paint, let him see the defense, let him make plays, let other players move around off the ball, let him find somebody that's open. If they don't got a great shot, let them find somebody who got a great shot, drive in the paint, do what you need to do. If you see a 3, you want to take it, take it. Just don't get too happy from the three-point line. Darvin Ham, look at the rotation. Denver is deep. Denver got players who can make plays on the floor for the starting 5 and coming off the bench. But I think, I don't want to say it's going to be a situation like when the Cavs beat Atlanta or when LeBron used to go to Toronto and just take the soul out of Toronto. I don't think it's going to be like that because Denver knows what's at stake for them. Denver knows, and I've been saying it since the playoffs started, before the playoffs started. They got the most pressure, I believe, especially with Jokic being a 2-time MVP and coming close to a third. Denver know what time it is, but I'm rolling with my Lakers in 6. I believe we'll get it done. I believe we'll get it done. We coming off of beating Memphis, a team who I had going all the way in the West, beating Golden State, the dynasty of our era. Now you got the Nuggets with the 2-time MVP. If the Lakers beat the Nuggets, we winning it all. That's a hot take if you want to say it, but I got the Lakers winning it all. Going to Golden State, coming off this loss, the dynasty, if you want to say the last dance for them, it probably could have been with the way Clay played. I saw a quote, Draymond Green was like, this team wasn't championship ready. Jordan Poole with too much dip on his chip. I think Andrew Wiggins can come back. They need to make some moves. Like I said, but if you got Steph Curry, you got Clay coming back, you got Draymond, and you just fill out the way you need to fill out. You keep Looney probably, and you just fill those other spots like you need to. Golden State is going to be around. As long as they really got Steph Curry and probably Draymond, and they can probably find something for Clay, maybe. But it is Clay, and that is your nucleus of your whole dynasty. So very intriguing to see what's going to happen with Golden State over this offseason. But nothing for Golden State to hang their head low. Like I said, they just won it last year. I know we ain't supposed to think like that, like, oh, you won one last year, you're supposed to win, back-to-back. Golden State just won last year, y'all. They won the last 4 of the 8 championships. Golden State's going to be fine. They're going to be just fine, trust me. But I'm glad my Lakers was able to get over them. So I got my Lakers in 6 over the Denver Nuggets. Now to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like I said before, I'm recording this before Game 7 of Boston and Philadelphia. I did have Boston winning that series in 5. Boy, was I wrong. So I guess I'm going to go with Boston. Once again, I hate to say it as a Lakers fan, but I'm going to go with Boston to beat Philadelphia in Game 7. And by the time y'all hear this, either I'm right or I'm wrong. But we'll get to that series later on. But first, let's start with the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks. The Miami Heat and the New York Knicks. Miami, man, wow, coming off the play-in where they could have been eliminated from even playoff contention to getting the 8 seed, bulldozing the Milwaukee Bucks, taking care of the New York Knicks, now going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Once again, man, when you got a core team, a nucleus, especially at the office, in the front office, Pat Riley, Alonzo Mourning, Eric Spoelstra, head coach, of course, you're going to have some success throughout the years. And the thing with the Miami Heat all season has kind of been, well, they've been in the mix. They are the Miami Heat. You know they got Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero's being hurt. You got Kyle Lowry who won the chip. You got guys there that made a move to get Kevin Love to bring some more veteran leadership over there, championship DNA as well. So you know they're going to be in the midst. But, man, since they won that play-in and got to the playoffs, they just hit that switch that you need in playoff play to be successful. We see it all the time in the NFL, just a team just been staggering along all season. Then when the playoffs come, you just hit that switch where, okay, the regular season don't matter now. It doesn't matter. We got a best of 7 series we got to deal with one team. We're going to take it game by game. And you see it with the Miami Heat, man. You see it with the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler, he done got Bam Adebayo on his type of time. That's been the thing with Bam Adebayo the past couple of years. Like, man, he can get like a good mean streak, just a snag the rebound, go back up with a dunk type of attitude, he'll be all right. And he had that against the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks ran into, I ain't going to say the mirror of themselves, but what they did to the Cleveland Cavaliers the series before, that's what the Miami Heat did to them in this series. You can't bully the Miami Heat. You really can't bully them because even if you bully them, they're going to make their presence felt. And they got these role players who just can make shots and go to the paint and do things that fill out what their core can do as well. So, man, Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley, what they've been doing to Miami Heat the past decade or so, man, you got to salute them. You got to salute them. New York Knicks, it's been rumors of, hey, they probably want Julius Randle up out of there. Being that he was with the Lakers for a minute, I do kind of feel for him, but I did say, Julius Randle plays with such a chip on his shoulder, I just don't get it. Like, I get it because, he a basketball player, NBA, you play in New York, you got to deal with that media, playing Madison Square Garden. I totally get that, but just his posture on the court. Y'all see when they cut the camera to him when he just walking, it's just like he either look like he's not interested or he looks like it's something going on behind the scenes where he don't want to be out there with the team. And then you can make the argument, hey, when you get hurt and you can't come back to the game, I think it was against the Cavaliers. He got hurt. He couldn't come back. The Knicks looked great. And then when Thibodeau benched them, the Knicks looked great without you on the court. So you don't need to play with his chip on your shoulder. He maybe feel like Brunson came in and took over, which he did, rightfully so. I mean, what you want the man to do? Y'all made a move to get him. He come in at point guard. He got to show out. What you want him to do? If he take over your team, that says more about you than it does him. Especially on the floor. In the locker room, I don't know. But on the floor, that's Brunson's team, man. He took over in 1 year, what you couldn't do in the few years you've been there. R.J. Barrett, no show. So the Knicks quickly was hurt coming off the bench. That probably had a little bit to do with their morality, but, I mean, Josh Hart, Brunson, you had guys out there doing what they needed to do to help the Knicks, but at the point of where Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett don't deliver for y'all, man, it's not going to work. And I had the Knicks winning that series in 6. So I've been watching the Knicks. Of course, where I'm at, they show their games over here like around 7:30 throughout the regular season. So I was up to date with the Knicks play. So I had the Knicks winning in 6, but just seeing the lack of fight in certain games, I mean, I guess they really probably felt like, hey, we won what we needed to do in Madison Square Garden. At least we didn't get beat in Madison Square Garden to where we had to go home at home. We went to Miami and got beat. But other than that, yeah, the Knicks, they probably got to do some fine-tuning over there as well. And it starts with Julius Randle. Either have a conversation or see what you can get for him. Package him up with somebody else, see what you can get. But Julius Randle, hey, man, you gotta work on that posture, man. Like, when I see him on camera just on the court, I was like, man, bro, look like the teammate that don't really get along with people. But that's just how I saw it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just what I saw. So, yeah, Miami Heat, man, coming from the number 8 seed, going to the Eastern Conference Finals, you got to give them a salute. You got to give them a salute. Now back to the Boston Celtics and Philadelphia 76ers series. Once again, it's going to Game 7, so by the time y'all hear this, either I'm right or wrong with my Celtics pick. But let's stick with the Celtics real quick. All season, and this is why I love having the podcast, all season I've been saying, dang, the Celtics, that Ime Udoka situation really didn't affect them. They haven't really lost a step all season, whoop-de-whoop. This series, I feel like this is when they needed Udoka the most. Because you just watch them play, you're like, man, y'all had this core group for this many years. Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Marcus Smart, Al Horford been there a while. You got Brogdon coming off the bench. You got what my guy named White. You got guys who been there for some years, so it's like, okay, even if you do got a new head coach, y'all been around each other for so long, y'all know how each other operate. But this series, it just seemed like it ain't been clicking. They've been so inconsistent. Live by the 3, die by the 3. That's the way the league is nowadays. It's so much heavy three-point shooting. If you rely on it too much, it can be your backdrop. And we saw it. We seen it. Jason Tatum, a great fourth quarter in Game 6, but, man, before the fourth quarter, he was stinking up the joint. He was stinking up the joint. I was like, man, I said it when I was watching on TV. I pointed to the TV. I said, look, this is why y'all don't need to compare him and be like mama mentality and all that. This is the perfect example. Once again, stop it. Stop it. I get it, but stop it. Now, salute to him on keep on taking shots. Fourth quarter, it panned out for the best for him. So I got to salute him on that. But overall, man, with this Philadelphia team, you had Embiid out. He the MVP. You would have thought the Celtics would be like, okay, we see blood on y'all captain, so let's go for the kill. They just didn't have that attitude. Like Embiid playing like he perfectly fine. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Philadelphia 76ers won Game 7 because Embiid like, okay, I'm back now. MVP, I got to show up. Game 7 might be the Embiid game. He got to show up. MVP, you just got the trophy, you got to show up. So Boston, I'm rooting for Boston in Game 7 because that's my prediction. But, man, they've been playing inconsistent. They can't come in if they do win, they can't go against Miami playing like that because Miami going to see blood Game 1 and go for the kill. So, Boston, y'all got to get it together. And once again, as a Lakers fan, I hate to say it, but I do got y'all winning that series with this Game 7. So, We'll see how it goes. Philadelphia, y'all know my thing with Philadelphia being James Harden. James Harden, he had some great games. He had some not so great games throughout these playoffs. What will he do in Game 7? Game 7, I think there's going to be an inconsistent game for James Harden. If the Philadelphia 76ers win, it's going to be off the strength of Embiid and Maxey. And Tobias Harris may do some things. But at the same time, they got Doc Rivers as head coach. Y'all got to lay off Doc, man. Y'all got to lay off of Doc. Like, I get it. The record is the record at closeout games and everything in the playoffs. But y'all got to lay off Doc Rivers, man. I like Doc, bro. Y'all got to lay off Doc Rivers, man. They be chewing Doc Rivers' ass. They're like, he can't close out playoff series. He can't get the job done as head coach. I'm like, man, chill out, man. Doc don't be doing nothing to nobody. Relax, man. But, yeah, I don't see – this is one of those games. Game 7 is one of those games when I talk about James Harden, and I always say, James Harden is a great player. He get you points. He do what he need to do. Get to the free throw line. He do what he need to do. But when it matters is when he goes into the shadows. Game 7 is the perfect example for that. So when y'all see this, I'm either right or I'm wrong. James Harden would not show up Game 7. So people be like, Tyler, you say James Harden a great player, but you say you can't trust him because in the playoffs, when it's times like this, he don't show up. Either he shows up with shots and they don't go in, or he just don't show up at all. Perfect example of it right here. But I got Boston winning Game 7. When y'all hear it, I'm right or I'm wrong. But shout out to Embiid, too, by the way, getting that MVP award. Shout out to Joel Embiid. So for my conference finals, for the West, I got the Denver Nuggets and the LA Lakers. I got the Lakers winning in 6. And for the East, I have the Boston Celtics beating the Philadelphia 76ers in this Game 7. So it'll be Miami versus the Boston Celtics. The way it's looking, if my Lakers win, we could either have Lakers, Miami rematch from the bubble a couple years ago, which, y'all know, I really don't put too much weight on that bubble ring like everybody else does. Yeah, it was a ring. Yeah, they played basketball. Basketball is basketball. I don't care if it fans in the arena or not. You put the ball on the court. You got 10 men on the court playing basketball. The result is the result. I totally get that. But as a fan, I think if we do see Miami in the finals, it will be like, okay, it redeemed that ring for me personally because I never really hold that much weight on that ring. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Kobe passed that year and all that transpired in 2020. I totally understand that, but I would feel better if they win a ring this year. I'd be like, okay, that make up for my lack of interest in the 2020 bubble ring. So that could happen, or you can have your classic Lakers-Celtics finals matchup, which I won't be mad at as well. So if I'm wrong about my Celtics over Philadelphia pick, I'll come back next week, talk about that, but I think the Celtics going to pull out Game 7. But for the East, if it is Celtics Heat, I got the Celtics winning that series in 6. And if the Philadelphia 76ers were to win against Boston, I think I got the Miami Heat winning that in 6. And one more thing before I leave up out of here, I got to say this, man. Power Ghost, the new season, it ain't been that to where y'all got to go on the dark web and find episode 9 and 10. Like, I saw the last episode. I'm like, okay. They killed, brother, Method Man brother, who they switched out from Red Man. I'm not mad at it because that's just black television. Black television going to switch out a character and not act like nobody knows. But, yeah, Method Man brother, he killed Sats. Then he killed himself. So I was like, okay, you know, even last week when people was like, oh, the new Power episode, whoop-de-whoop, I watched it. I was like, okay, Lauren revealed to Effie that she's still alive. It was points where I was like, okay, cool, but honestly, I'm like, okay, y'all got to wrap this. Y'all got to bring this full circle now because you got the RICO charge going on, got the Tejada situation. Now you got Sats dying. Yeah, it's a lot going on, but not to the point where I'm like, I got to go on this. Like, the most I did when the original Power was about to end because, you know, Ghost was dying, everybody trying to figure out they was leaking episodes. The most I did with that was somebody would upload it on Facebook and I watch it on Facebook, but they putting all these other website links up, and I'm like, man, look, I'm not trying to get no virus on my TV. I'm not trying to get no virus on my laptop, on my phone, or nothing like that. So I'm going to just wait till next week to watch the new Power. I see everybody talking about it. I haven't seen no crazy spoilers yet. I'm sure by next week it's probably going to be some spoilers, but I'm dodging them. Y'all putting Facebook threads up of it. I'm like, fam, let people watch the damn show first. It's canceled this week, too. Not canceled. It's a no-show this week. So we're not even supposed to be even looking for the show. Here y'all come with these cryptic-ass website links. Here are the last 2 Power episodes of the season. I'm like, fam, the season ain't been that good. Why I need to get a sneak peek of the next week? I was like, damn. I get it, it's Power. You know, they got their old shenanigans going on. But, yeah, episode 210, Stash House Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you guys go out. Have a great work week. Shout out to the grads, college grads, high school grads, kindergarten, pre-K. If you're going to the next grade in elementary school, middle school, high school, I know it's grad season, so shout out to everybody doing the school thing. Shout out to all the parents. The kids about to come home for the summer soon, so have some things lined up for the kids, man, this summer. Don't let the kids stay in the house and be on their phone all summer, man. Have some things lined up for your kids. Day at the park, water park, amusement park, museum, whatever you want to do, man. Go outside, have some fun this summer. Be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. Keep me in your prayers. I do the same for y'all. Salute.